those cookies because we are going to be telling you a story. Now, haven't you ever had that decision-making problem where you don't know where you want to get your story from? Do I want to go to a movie? Do I want to see TV? Do I want to read a magazine? Do I want to go to a play? Well, we're going to solve it all for you because we're going to combine all those different forms of storytelling into one. Now, give me a type of movie that you could go see. A James Bond, okay. Give me a type of TV program that you can watch. Oh, what's that? A sitcom, all right. Give me a type of play or a playwright.
Strindberg.
Strindberg. Oh, the cheerful man over there. All right. Strindberg. Give me a type of book or an author.
Mystery.
A mystery. And finally, give me a newspaper or magazine. The Post. There you go. I've heard that before. The New York Times. We don't read that. It's not interesting enough. All right, now we need two more things to make our story time very entertaining. We need a title. You supply that. Huh, stumped you. Any words put together that'll make a title. We don't care. Come on, you're doing well tonight.
How to paint a house.
All right, an educational story. How to paint a house. And we also need a suggestion of an inanimate object. Something that doesn't move besides your dick.
Bowling ball.
Well, an inanimate object. A bowling ball that doesn't move. All right. Well, we've got a bowling ball. Come back at 10:30 and give us the crisis. All right. So now, with our style theme,
TV sitcom.
A James Bond movie.
Strindberg play.
A mystery. The New York Post.
and our inanimate object being
a bowling ball.
Right. Our title being
How to Paint the House.
We now open to page 1 of our storybook.
Dark and stormy night. The lightning had just killed my mother. Her body was there on the ground, torn open, blood flowing down into a crack. Through the crack, I saw a piece of paper. I reached down to pull up the floorboard and got a splinter. I screamed in agony.
And then I picked up my martini, shaken, not stirred. And I telephoned M on the telephone that sat right nearby, and I said, "Old Mr. Croxy from the Soviet Union has killed
my mother with a lightning bolt." I don't know how he did it. While I was on the phone, I continued to pull up the floorboard and got another
Piece of paper. That was my grocery list. Oh, jeez, I forgot to get toilet paper last week. I couldn't believe it.
So I looked at my grocery list and thought about my day's adventures and hoped that Mr. M would not strike again, or I had to call him again to make sure that he was sure that this lightning bolt had struck my mother and that it was not another murderer. I called him back again and said, listen, there's been a crime committed.
Are you sure that it was Mr. Croxy that seared my mom in blood back?
Yes, James, it was. So I hopped into my little plane, which was about 3 feet long, made of balsa wood, and flew 5,000 miles across the globe and came down in Nairobi, Kenya. While I was there,
I filled up with some super ethyl gasoline. Boy, I used my Amico credit card. They come in so handy.
And on the back of my credit card was embossed a name. Rupert Murdoch. When I held it up to the mirror, it said, Doc Murdoch. I knew that's where I should...
Find the murderer, the real murderer. I hopped back into my 3-foot plane and flew to an address that had been printed on the other side of the credit card. Of course, it was my own address, so I had to fly back.
to 69 Octopussy Lane, with my broken eye on a mill, and my mother's body still lay there on the floor. I would clean it up when after this mess was all finished. Picked up
the rotting, cankerous body that the neighbors smelled 2 blocks away. And I wondered, my own house, my own address, could I be the psycho?
Killer? Well, gee, I thought I'd better clean this up
absorbency was so quick. I couldn't believe it. Is it possible that this is what they were after? The most absorbent paper towel? And is this why my mother had died?
Yes, it was, because I saw nuclear-powered bowling balls heading toward my house. They must have been fired by the Soviet launchers. I hid my mother's body quickly.
So they wouldn't find her. They wouldn't know that she'd been killed. I took the bounty and covered up the windows with it so they wouldn't see into the house. The bowling balls approached my eyes. I stood there.
Screaming, "Red Biggie, set off the bowling ball!"
My scream frightened someone hiding behind the bookcase. It flew open, and there was standing my mother. How could it
Be. I just cleaned her up with fantastic. It was amazing. She said, "Oh, honey, I forgot to tell you, this whole..."
Thing was a little joke of mine. I hope you thought it was amusing. And I had a coronary right on the spot.
And as I palpitated there, I said, "I don't believe you! You're a double agent for the Reds!" And I knew that all that she had done was just lame excuses for a deeper, darker plan that I might not ever find out, because at that moment my mother raised a gun to my head. She pointed it right at my head, and she said, "The blood that splatters from your brain will teach you how to paint a house."